Hey everyone, in this video I'll be building out this Game Boy Advance. This has the FunnyPlaying ITA screen. It is the air-gapped version of the screen. They have a laminated version as well, but with the laminated version you're pretty much limited to using a FunnyPlaying shell. There's no really easy way to trim the plastic for a laminated version of this screen. And I really like this ExtremRate shell, that classic kind of NES style. So there's a bit of trimming involved, if you want to put this in like a OEM, like original Nintendo shell, this is a pretty similar process. There is trimming. I have 3D printed some brackets, and I will include the files for those if you have access to a 3D printer. And links to the products used in the 3D printable files will be in the description below. This is not a sponsored video. I just do this because it's fun. So if you like it, maybe hit me with a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, if you're really into it. But anyways, let's get started. We won't be reusing anything. Maybe I'll keep the power switch. Yeah, I don't know if I have another black power switch, so I might keep that. Once you have those 6 tri-wing screws out, go ahead and switch to Phillips or JIS. There is one in the battery cover. And then there's usually only 2 in the actual motherboard. I'll push these up to release the ribbon for the LCD, and this board should be ready to come out. Just like that. Now, Retro Game Repair Shop does recommend that you test your screens before you do anything else. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. Yep, so this is the 32-pin version of the board. You can tell, as indicated there, the number 32. There are longer ones, which take 40. And it does have a ribbon for that, if that's the style Game Boy you've got. Just going to seat that into the ribbon slot. Aha, so it plugs in this way. So it's going to be pins down on the display, pins up on the actual Game Boy. And then we'll get some power going to this thing. Turn the Game Boy on. And the screen works. Looks good. So now we know we're safe to proceed. Go ahead and take that screen back out. We'll set the motherboard aside for now. Actually, we'll set the screen aside for now too. I will show you guys the case we got. So I am a fan of ExtremRate, and I am a fan of that classic NES controller look. This comes with a set of gray buttons and a couple red accent buttons. The only thing I'm going to be using is the A and B from the red. I won't be using any of these. ExtremRate did include a glass lens, but I've got a lens that I know works with the display that I bought, so we'll be using that instead. Keep the red. I also had to purchase these separately because I wanted more black. I wanted a couple red accents, but mostly black. So I did purchase these, or 2 different kits separately. Oh, and it looks like it does have a black power switch as well as completely blacked out pads. Let's see what this thing's looking like. Unfortunately, the screen that I bought is not compatible with this kit. So I'm going to have to do a little trimming. Just a little. There are, of course, kits that don't need this much plastic trim, but well, I like this one. I think I'm going to do that first. Just using flush cuts to get stuff started. Let's see how much I can just kind of get out of here. Nah, I'm not gonna risk wrestling the paint. Oh, okay. Well, these just fly right off, so that's good. Now, the reason I'm being so careful to trim this so flush is because I think there is still some screen down here, and obviously it won't be within view, but if there's anything putting undue pressure, even on an unused portion of the screen, it could create those kind of circular pressure points, and it could bleed up into the actual visible area. So I'm just trying to make sure that I've really got this pretty darn smooth. And I think I do. Okay, let's see how we're looking now. All right, I forgot. FunnyPlaying reckons these little tabs ought to be trimmed off. I think there's 3 of them. Yep, there's 3. 2 kind of right next to each other, and this one further down here. So I'm gonna cut these flush. Good enough, I think. Now that those tabs are gone, though, I have a feeling I'm gonna have to, yeah, have to trim a little further up over here. I'm gonna cut off this little pull tab for the screen protector, because I'd like to design a bracket to hold the screen in so I don't have to tape it down. When you tape stuff down, especially for these big screens where the tape ends up going directly on the display, there's not a really easy way to get them out without breaking them, other than using like a hair dryer and crossing your fingers. It's doable, but I would like to design a bracket so that I could tape the bracket in, and then the bracket holds the display, yada yada, you know. So I'm going to cut this pull tab so I can keep the screen protected while I design this bracket. And why isn't it seating? Just realized that this has those little protrusions in the edge, just like an OEM shell does. So I'm going to get rid of that because the screen kind of tilts on it just a hair, and I don't need it to. And now it's gone. I think there's another one. Well, usually there's two on an OEM. Might have been down here and it's already been cut off. Or no, we'll just use this. One should be enough. We get one corner up here with a bracket, and then a bracket that goes across most of the bottom. That should hold the screen in. Good enough. Okay, this is what I've come up with for the mounting brackets. The one for the corner up here, just kind of a L-shaped, very straight bracket. It is a pretty snug fit. And then I got this pretty bizarrely shaped one for the bottom here. Not quite as snug there. And even though I didn't film it, this is, both of these are on their like 4th design revision, so I do kind of want to just test one more time the screen. Alright, screen looks good. Does not look cracked. Looks a little high. Possibly a little too far to the right. But this does have onboard controls that we'll get into later. And the edges do look very even. So it's not crooked, it is very straight. The border gaps are super straight. I don't know how well it's coming out on camera. And there is there's an onboard adjustment so we can adjust the horizontal and vertical positions of the screen, which is a huge bonus. One of the reasons why I wanted this screen. But yeah, I think the way I've got those brackets currently, perfect. So we will proceed with the installation. I just thought of a fairly crucial thing, unfortunately, that I forgot to do. It's not crucial, but the screen's already coming back out. The inside of this bezel has some weird paint. Like, it's kind of black, but it's got like overspray. It's black because of overspray. I'm going to take a Sharpie and make sure it's all black. Now, the Sharpie is a little reflective. I've thought about searching for like matte black fingernail polish or something, but I just never got around to it. And since this is a air-gapped display, you will see this bezel. So if you want it solid black or solid white before you get that screen in, it's the best time. Just gonna do one more lap with a Sharpie. I think that is good enough. So, one more time with a screen installation. In goes the screen and the spacing brackets. Going to reapply the screen cover to keep dust out while we work. And the next thing we're going to do is get the soldering done. There is a little soldering if you want to use the alignment controls especially. There is a touch control for the brightness. This is touch. But this will just cycle all the way through all the brightness levels. If you want to get into the OSD, you need right, left, and select all wired up. So we're going to go ahead and get these tinned. That should be good enough. Now we're going to get left, right, and select soldered up. So for select, we're going to tin, and I know it's upside down, I'm sorry, but we're going to tin TP2. Where did my wire kit go? Okay. So now that we've got TP2 tinned, we're going to throw a wire on it. That should do. I think I want a little more solder on it. That's better. So that's TP2. Now we're going to move up towards the shoulder button. This way. Now TP9 is that one right there, and that's for the left shoulder button. So we'll get TP9 tinned up. Try to center that just a little better. It's very bright over there. We'll tin up TP9. And get a wire running to it. And finally, for the right trigger, TP8, we're going to move over. Actually, I'm going to flip the board over because TP8 is near the A and B buttons. It is right there. So we'll get it tinned up. And then we will solder it down. By the way, if you have the 40-pin version of Game Boy Advance motherboard, you get the 40-pin ribbon cable. The instructions say to remove capacitor 54. It's that one right there. It's kind of by the game cart and right above the potentiometer. See, there's the 40-pin and then capacitor 54. And to remove this, you just want to get big solder blobs on both sides of it and then push it from this direction. Try to watch out for R3 there, but it should come off pretty easy. Unfortunately, I don't really want to demonstrate on this board because this is the only 40-pin board I have handy, and it is super corroded, so I don't really want to take anything off for fear of making a bigger mess, and it probably won't ever go back on, and then I'll lose it forever. Also, speaking of the potentiometer, on these ITA screens, you most certainly will have flicker. I'll make a video about that, but I've already edited the whole video. I'm just kind of adding in these last minute things. You will probably have screen flicker, but you won't notice any flickering so much. What you will notice probably is that the screen is way too oversaturated or way too underexposed. So you'll get either like a really dark, vibrant screen, or you'll get a really light, overexposed look. And what you'll do is just kind of adjust this until it looks good. If you have your Game Boy fully assembled and you have the stickers on, you're not going to be able to access that potentiometer. There's a hole through the shell right about here. I'll show you what the inside looks like. Oh, wrong half. That's what that hole looks like. But it's behind the label there. So if you need to make that adjustment, you might need some sort of external battery pack, or just do it before you put your labels on your shell. Gonna wire select to the ribbon. Then we will wire the left shoulder button and we'll wire the right shoulder button. I think we're ready to try to close this thing up. Let me get these red buttons out of here. It's the A button and the B button. Now I need switch to the black D-pad. Pad for A and B. Pad for D-pad. Start and select. A little off screen there. The speaker goes in. You want it under that ribbon. Think we've got it under the ribbon. Now I'm just going to grab some tweezers to make sure it is aligned correctly. At this point, you do want to inspect all of your mounting holes. Make sure that the left, right, and select wires haven't been wedged between them posts. Matter of fact, the left select left select's too close for comfort, so pry that up. Get that wire coming up that way a little more, and I've got clearance. And we'll go ahead and seat this ribbon cable. This protrusion runs along the inside of the battery cover, and I think it's causing me a lot of grief right now, so it's gonna go away. I think that little ridge we just trimmed off, I think it ran across my little bracket. Oh my god, that was it. That was it. Okay. I'm gonna get this screen lens on there now. Peel that off. Move that out of the light so you guys can see. What you can do with this is the grid is going to change colors when I hit select, and I have to hit select to pull up the OSD. So hold select and then hold L and R, or maybe you just tap it really quickly. Okay, so the white bars on the left and right side of the screen, that puts us into horizontal positioning mode. And then when you see the green pop up, see the green bars on the top and bottom, that means we're, that's like the manufacturing center point, I believe. I believe they're doing this to indicate where, hey, that's where they've got it centered. And honestly, where they've got it centered looks pretty spot on to how I've got the adapters 3D printed and stuff. So I'm actually going to leave it like that. Then now I've got the white bars on the top and bottom and the green on the side. So now we're in vertical positioning. Move it down with right. Move it up with left. Oh, and that topmost does not actually go up further than that. And it looks like I can change my bracket to put it about a pixel higher, but it's pretty good. I can see the whole screen. So I think I'm going to leave that too. I mean, it's really good. I can see the edges around every one. I'm trying to show you guys how I see it, but there's so much light interference. Also, the brightness can be controlled by holding select and tapping L and R. I like it. I like it. That's the most dim you can make it, and then about 2 clicks higher. That's pretty good for me. It's not coming up great on my camera, but if I were to play this, looks good. There is a touch sensor. Mine is not working. I don't know if it's because it's been so long since I assembled this. I might have forgotten where it's at. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be there. It could be, I might have damaged it. I'm not sure. But you can do the same stuff with a touch as you can if you wire up the select and left and right triggers. And that's how I'm going to use it anyways. So I'm not too bothered by the touch sensor, so I'm probably not going to bother diagnosing it. But anyways, no battery mod, not yet. I just got a couple rechargeable energizers in there. I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. Like and subscribe. But until next time, I'm going to get out of here, dudes.